This is Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon, and I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking about how ease, one of our favorite things, doesn't always mean easy.
Hey Shannon, how are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited because this is episode 50.
Ooh.
I think that's amazing.
50. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of us.
Me too. I'm glad that this has worked out so well and that we're enjoying ourselves and people are actually listening. People are downloading anyway. We assume they're listening. Yeah.
We hope they're not just, downloading and not listening.
Right.
That seems sort of sad, but,
yeah.
We can't know.
That's right. And I'm excited because we're going to do a special episode 52, which is, sort of marking a year of podcasting.
Yeah. Well, I think it's sort of funny that we had a hard time deciding what was a year, like what would constitute our year anniversary. Was it episode 52 or was it the date that we went live? And
yeah, it was a long discussion.
Inappropriately long.
Perhaps. You're right. But I think going with I think we made a good choice because, well, first of all, the anniversary date of our first episode wouldn't fall on a Thursday, and we always publish on Thursdays. And
right.
10 years from now when we're celebrating the podcast 10th anniversary, I'm not sure where I'm going with that. We'd be like, why did we make episode 54 the 1 year anniversary or whatever it was? Because we published three episodes the first week. Is that right? That's why it's so confusing.
The first week that we went live, we had 3 episodes ready to go.
Right.
Because we knew that once people listened to one, they weren't going to be able to help themselves and would want to listen to another one.
And it would have been just mean to have had only one.
Right.
For them. Yeah.
Because we really are thinking about other people.
All the time. That's so clearly evidenced by this podcast where we talk about ourselves all the time.
Right.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
So keep an eye out for episode 52, in which we will be discussing, I forgot. What are we discussing?
Year of good enough.
That's right. About how living with this idea of good enough for a whole year, what impact it's had, right? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And in fact, if any of our listeners have something that they would like to share about how, you may not have been with us for a year, but anything that has impacted you with living with those principles of good enough, we would love to hear it, and we would love to share it with our listeners.
Yes, and we'll talk at the end of the podcast. Shannon will give all the info about how to reach us with that.
Yes, absolutely. But for today, we are talking about how ease doesn't always mean easy.
Right. That sounds kind of mysterious and interesting.
Does it?
I think it does. I hope others think that too.
Well, and when we talked about this topic, I don't know if resistant is quite the word, but it wasn't a natural idea to you because you are so embracing of the ideas of ease and making things be as easy as possible and all of that.
Right. Oh, I wasn't resistant. I just couldn't grasp it at first.
Right.
Till you explained it to me. Yeah. So that's why it's, I guess, mysterious and interesting to me. But maybe it's very obvious to everybody else. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so the idea of this is that, some things are difficult and hard, and regardless of what you do, you can't make them easy, but you can still bring ease to them.
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I think we want to debunk with this topic is the notion that, like, if something isn't hard, it doesn't count.
Mm-hmm. I'm all behind that.
Yeah. But I think that sometimes, when there is something hard that we might feel compelled to make it feel hard so that, we get extra credit or so. I don't know,
Right.
extra bonus points for it being hard.
Only person giving out those bonus points is yourself, right? I mean,
right.
You're not doing it to impress somebody else, probably.
No.
Yeah.
Although I do think there's like some social or cultural, I don't know, norms around things needing to be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Don't take the easy way out.
Right.
God forbid. My dad just said that to me yesterday. He was talked about somebody taking the easy way out and doing something that sounded really smart to me, the thing that he did. And so I just had to gently say, I really reject the idea that if something's easy, it's not good.
Right.
And he said, is that your organizing philosophy? I said, well, yeah, it is, but it's not just organizing. It's funny that came up just last night in our phone call.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, what did he think about that?
About what I said?
Yeah, like that idea. Did that seem like something he could embrace, or did he just think it was a bunch of hooey?
No, he's such a nice guy, and he's very respectful of my ideas. So he took that in, and he said, okay, yeah, and he didn't criticize me or argue with it. And actually, by the end of the conversation, he said, well, thank you for arguing with me about that. He actually said that. And I said, well, I really didn't feel like I was arguing, but you're welcome. But I guess he enjoyed that I gave him a little pushback on what he was saying, what the criticism he was giving this person. It did not seem legit to me. So
right.
Yeah, but take it the easy way out. And then he said, actually, I come to realize that it really probably wasn't the easy way out. I was just reacting to this person who was making policy for an organization that my father used to make policy for, doing things differently than I did it. I was like, well, you're pretty enlightened, Jean. I was impressed.
Yeah, that is. And that sort of makes me think about, with this topic, that idea that, like, I wonder if part of it is that if someone doing it differently takes away not credit, but it'd be really helpful if I could think of the word. But somehow
invalidates his.
Invalidates his the way he did it.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I think with this topic, one of the reasons that I started thinking about this was when I was training for marathons. And, that training is definitely not easy, but there were a lot of ways that I could bring ease to it to make it as easy as possible.
What's an example of a way to bring ease into marathon training? Because marathon training sounds like outrageously horrible to me.
So I would decide my route ahead of time. Mm-hmm. I would get all my clothes ready, because I would usually go running in the morning, particularly if I was training during the summer. And so I would get everything ready the night before. I would decide the route. I would make sure that my running watch was charged. I would just have everything ready so I didn't have to make a bunch of decisions before I went out for my run.
Oh, that makes so much sense. And also you eliminated some possible irritations, like your watch not being charged, or just things that would make it more difficult.
Right.
It's hard enough as it is.
Right.
I'm getting it now. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, I like that. So rather than being like me and saying, training for a marathon sounds horrible, I'm never doing it, you said, I want to run a marathon. How can I accomplish that with as much ease as possible?
Right.
That's great. And let's let people know that you ran the Boston Marathon. It wasn't your first marathon, but you qualified for and ran and completed the Boston Marathon, which is amazing.
I did. And you want to know what's crazy?
What?
It was 5 years ago this week that I did that.
Wow.
That I ran the Boston
Marathon. 5 years already.
Yeah.
Huh. Yep. So that's a great example. To me, that's really a great example.
And you don't have to ever want to do marathon training to embrace this principle though.
Good thing. Right. So like when we were talking about it and I was trying to find something relatable in my life to it, the thing that popped into my head was that I went to the dentist last week to get my teeth cleaned and was given a referral to a periodontist because I have a pocket in the back molar because I'm old. And so I'm thinking, I once had a procedure at a periodontist and it was not fun. And I'm thinking, how can I build ease into that? Because that's not going to be the initial appointment will be fine, but I'm sure they'll have me want to do something unpleasant. I don't even know. But, how can I make it as easy as possible for myself? Right. And so the things that popped into my head, and if you have other ideas, Shannon, please tell me, was to bring along my phone and earbuds and listen to some meditations while a procedure's going on. Or I could take some rescue remedy, or I could promise myself a really great treat when it's over.
I think those are all fantastic ideas.
Yeah.
And depending on if this would seem helpful or not, you may want to have more information ahead of time about what's going to happen.
Right. I like the way you said that because for some people, having more information is not helpful. I think in my case it would be though. After I find out what it is they want to do, I'll research it.
Right. And also, that's a big cautionary that's a big caution against, madly Googling things.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, I'm not going to Google it until after they tell me what they're going to do, because I don't want to Google now and find out what the possibilities of things they might want to do to me are, right? Without knowing what my problem is.
Yeah. Well, and you also may want to ask them for a resource as opposed to just looking on your own.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because, with the internets, the odds of you stumbling across something that you really didn't need to know are pretty high.
It's so true. It reminds me, although it was a book, not the internet, years and years ago, my dog Kramer was drooling and there's something else going on. And so I opened up this veterinary book I had because I was a dog writer. So I had this diagnostic manual. And I said to Barry, I think he swallowed a poisonous toad. We don't have these kinds of toads here, but I was sure of it for a minute.
This is completely not related, but I feel compelled to share it anyway.
I love it when you do that.
Well, it's related in, seeing things that you wish you hadn't seen. I was talking with one of my kids about hairless animals, and for some reason we were talking about there are these bears that I think are in Romania or somewhere that are hairless.
Oh my God. Can you imagine coming across a hairless bear in the forest?
Okay, you want to know what's
I'm
worse
sorry.
than coming across? You want to know what's worse than coming across a hairless bear in the forest?
What?
Googling naked bear.
Oh dear.
I screamed and threw my phone at Mike and said, "Make it go away." Because let me tell you, it was not hairless bears that came up.
Now I kind of want to Google that, but I'm afraid.
Yeah, you should be afraid. I mean, it was just really startling because I forget that, a lot of people are using the internet for things other than what I use it for.
Right. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I think that those are some really great ways that you could bring some ease into something that isn't necessarily going to be easy.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember this, but I think one of the very, very, very earliest things I did with you after I got certified in NLP and hypnotherapy was around going to the dentist.
Oh, yeah. I used to be really scared of the dentist.
Yeah.
And then you helped me. And now I go every 6 months like clockwork, which is why this pocket is so surprising. But yeah, that's right. So that was so helpful. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's crazy to think how scared I was of something that doesn't scare me at all. Like, I'm not scared to go to the periodontist at all. I'm just not wanting an unpleasant experience, but I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
Part of living. Yeah.
Yeah. But so I think thinking about these things that you expect to be unpleasant or know are going to be difficult, because we can't make everything easy, and thinking about how you can bring ease into it is super valuable.
Yeah, because as much as I embrace easy and I have let it be easy as my motto, I would be remiss if I never did anything that wasn't easy.
Right.
I wouldn't grow probably. So,
Yeah.
But the idea that I can make it as full of ease as possible and still let it be difficult is okay, is great, actually.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And, as you were saying that, I was thinking about how, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts, that like for something to feel worthwhile for me, sometimes it needs to feel like a challenge, like it needs to be a little bit difficult. But that goes off the rails when we think it doesn't count unless it's difficult.
Right.
And that's sort of, the going the other direction with this concept of feeling like something needs to be hard for it to count.
Right. That's the concept that I reject.
Yeah.
Right. Huh. I feel like my mind has been expanded a little with this topic, and I appreciate that.
Oh, good.
So do you have ideas for people or me, on how, any particular techniques or ideas for ways to build ease into difficult things?
Well, I think there are some sort of general ways to do it, and then it gets really specific to individuals. So, some of the general things to do are, it's always going to have more ease if you set yourself up in advance. So, if you think through what you're going to need, what needs to be in place, what the steps are for you to be able to do this thing and do that in advance, that's really helpful. That's going to bring ease to something that's going to be difficult. You can also bring ease to something that's difficult through, how you are thinking about it. So, like I'm trying to think of with the marathon training, it would have been much worse if I spent a lot of time thinking about like, this is going to be really hard and it's going to suck.
Right. But I'm going to do it anyway.
Right. Like, and so you feel like you have to like grit your way through it, as opposed to, I've made a decision that I'm going to try and do this thing, and this is what I have to do to get there.
Mm-hmm. Your mindset about it.
Yeah.
The thing that crossed my mind when you were saying planning ahead to make things easier was moving house. I was just meeting today with a friend who's moving and looking at her new place and talking about planning for some of the storage and so forth. And I was thinking, gosh, if you decided to move and didn't put any forethought into the process, if you didn't put any, you'd be in real trouble. But if you thought all you had to do was call a mover, you're going to have a lot more difficult time than if you plan ahead for where things are going to go. For example, when the boxes arrive at the destination.
I think I probably told you the most difficult move I ever made was 6 inches.
Oh, right, 6 inches. I thought, what is she talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, when I moved from one side of a duplex to the other side of the duplex.
Mm-hmm. Literally because you didn't feel like it was going to be a difficult move, and so you didn't plan it.
And so I didn't do any planning.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was essentially, they were mirror images of one another, it seemed like it was going to be super easy to, I just take this stuff from this drawer and put it in this drawer over here.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow it was more complicated than that.
Somehow. You still had to move all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But so, had I planned that, and no one's ever going to say moving is easy. Mm-hmm. But you can bring as much ease to it. You can make it as easy as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
And planning is one of those ways of doing it.
Yeah, it's a great example. We moved from an apartment in the 5th floor of a building to an apartment in the 8th floor of the same building.
Uh-huh.
And same deal. It was horrible, just horrible. Because we didn't, nobody offered to help us. We were young. We didn't hire movers. And nobody offered to help. We thought we could do it all ourselves. But
so you end up moving it box by box by yourself.
Yeah, in the elevator.
3 floors.
Yeah. At one point I cried. I dropped my end of the couch and somebody snapped at me and I cried. But
I totally would have cried.
Yeah, and it's the only time I've ever cried during a move. I don't move very often, but yeah, I think moving's a good example of how pre-planning can build ease into it. Well, you can also hire a professional organizer to help you with your move and make it much easier.
Absolutely.
You can find one at www.napo.net.
Ooh.
Just putting it out there. But no, we do help make people's moves a lot easier.
Right. Well, and that definitely counts as planning ahead.
Yes.
And hiring someone.
Yep, absolutely.
But I'm trying to think of other situations where you can bring ease in, even though it won't necessarily be easy. And one of the things that comes to mind is allowing yourself plenty of time to do something. Because I think it's easy if you have a tendency to be late or procrastinate, to run late for something that you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can set yourself up so that you have plenty of time, that you don't feel rushed to go do this thing that you don't want to do, that will bring some ease to a difficult thing.
Yes, that's a great point. I'm reminded of, I met once with a professional organizer from Pittsburgh named Jill Liesko, and Jill said to me, I give myself the gift of being 15 minutes early to every appointment. And then I can, check email and, just get myself together before ringing the client's doorbell. I thought, wow, I was the opposite. I would,
Right.
try to get there exactly on time and stress out about if I were a couple minutes late. But and certainly working with a client is not a difficult thing that I'm dreading doing. So I realize that example wasn't a good one because we love going to our clients' homes. But
let's just clarify that.
Yeah, but building ease, building that buffer, I'm sure we've talked about that in previous episodes, is really a great way of building ease into anything. Giving yourself plenty of time.
Yeah. I think that's a really important one to remember.
I'm reminded of something we've talked about, which was the planning that I've done with my parents about their funerals and stuff and obituaries and all that stuff that made my mother's passing so much easier. I mean, obviously a very difficult time, but
right.
But because my dad and I knew her wishes, the many decisions that had to be made were easy. So, that's another example, I think, right, of this?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a great example. I mean, and that's also an example of something that it would be very easy for people to avoid because it's not pleasant, and yet it's only going to become less pleasant the less prepared you are for it.
Exactly. Right, yeah. Yeah, this is one thing one difficult thing that doesn't ever get easier by not thinking about it. That's what you just said. Right. I realize I just repeated you. I thought I was rephrasing. Yeah, but I did not.
Yeah. Yeah, but as you were saying that, I was thinking that, this sort of phrase of like, well, it's gonna suck, so why bother? And, this is going to be awful, so, why bother trying to make it any different when I think there are a lot of ways that you can bring some ease into something so that it is less difficult. Or at least you are not adding to the difficulty by being late or unprepared or, whatever else.
Yes. Excellent. Well, I feel like I have benefited from this discussion personally.
Me too.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Did I sound surprised?
I was surprised because I didn't feel like I felt like I just was like a little sponge and learned a lot. But you were the teacher, so I wasn't expecting it to be as beneficial for you.
Well, I hadn't thought about the time component as being such a big part of this, but as we were talking about, I realized and that's a pretty easy one to manage, and that's a great way. And the difference between the feeling of like you have plenty of time, and I was thinking about it in context of going to your appointment. And I could see, like, if it were something that I was really not wanting to do or I was uncertain about, that I could end up being late. And then I would just sort of feel behind the eight ball and you're, like, running in and you're not relaxed. And right. As opposed to if you get there early and like I had a physical therapy appointment yesterday. And rather than sort of, leaving it to the last minute to leave, I left early and brought my Kindle and read in the waiting room.
Right. Yeah.
Like on purpose.
Good for you. Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes like dentists or doctors' offices they smell antiseptic and you get this sort of, like it's a place you don't want to be. But
right.
I think the ease.
I've also sat in my car and read.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, that would do it too. Right. I was going to say the ease of being there in plenty of time would outweigh whatever unpleasantness the waiting room might have. But yeah, you can sit in your car. Yeah.
So we would like to hear from you, both about this and anything you would like to share with us about our first year of Good Enough. You can leave us a message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. You can head over to our website at gettingtogoodenough.com and leave a comment on show notes, or click through all of our social media links are there, and you can click through to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and chat with us in any of those places. We would love to hear from you. But for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. Well, that was easy.
Not difficult at all.
Right.